One of the most interesting collection of antagonists in the TV adaptation of The Walking Dead is what the fanbase has dubbed to be the Claimers. Led by a man named Joe, the Claimers were a group of nomadic hunter-gatherers and plunderers, all of whom adhered to a very simple set of rules. These rules were...
So I laid out some rules of the road to keep things from going Darwin every couple hours. Keep our merry band together and stress-free. All you gotta do is claim. That's how you mark your territory, your prey, your bed at night. One word, claimed. If you steal, you kill. I know that sounds a little funny, but nobody laughs when something goes missing. And you don't lie.
And the punishment for violating these rules was...
Oh, we catch a beating. The severity of which depends upon the offense and the general attitude of the day.
Now, the justification for these rules were explained by Joe when he stated the following.
Going it alone, that ain't an option nowadays. Still, it is survival of the fittest. That's a paradox right there. You ain't so friendly yourself. You know you need a group out here.
Maybe I don't.
No, you do.
Joe clearly understands that we, as a social species, can survive more effectively when we're part of a pack or tribe. He seemingly knew and understood that the lone wolf, while being a badass, is often the first one to die. In fact, this is something we observe in nature, as a literal lone wolf almost never survives for the long run in the wild. A wolf excommunicated from its pack is a wolf that is essentially condemned to death. Joe also definitely understood that some rudimentary code of ethics must exist in order to foster human cooperation, which in turn improves group survivability. This is precisely why ethics matters, even in a post-apocalyptic environment, despite what some might falsely claim. Suffice it to say, Joe was right in many ways, but the quality of his specific ethical code is definitely questionable. And this definitely matters because if ethical standards can affect survivability, then it stands to say that different ethical standards will yield different results. Some good and some definitely bad. Under the Claimer's ethical code of conduct, false witness and theft will earn you a Gotham-styled beatdown, which sometimes results in death. The severity of this punishment will depend on the severity of the crime and, most notably, the general attitude of the day. Perhaps this is not the most optimal way to punish violators of their ethical code. Perhaps there are better ways to dissuade people from these undesirable acts. While theft is bad, and while lying can also be pretty bad, there's no doubt in my mind that losing manpower is much worse in a post-apocalyptic world. And it must also go without mentioning that the beatdown clause of the Claimer Manifesto is needlessly cruel, as it causes a level of suffering that is certainly not proportional to the crimes of theft and perjury, thus rendering said punishments to be unjust, unfair, and unquestionably unethical. Then there's the fact that these men clearly had no respect for the lives and well-being of others. Raping a child was clearly deemed to be permissible so long as said child was claimed by the claim rule. Ladies and gents, that's fucking bad. Even when exacting revenge, the Claimers had no problem with charging a high rate of interest that included a lot of collateral. Now, the greatest irony of Joe's run on The Walking Dead is that he rejected Daryl's plea to spare Rick's life, because he viewed Daryl's claim of Rick being a good person to be a lie.
This man killed our friend. You say he's good people. See, now that right there is a lie.
Yet Lou, a member of Joe's tribe, was killed precisely because Joe and his Claimers were not ethical people. This is yet another example of why ethics tends to matter, even when the world is falling apart around you. The Claimers would have lived had they simply been better people. Because when you're a shithead, you'll eventually run into someone like Rick fucking Grimes. And truth be told, hostility is often an unnecessary risk. Cooperation and voluntary association is almost always a better solution, so long as you're dealing with people who are willing to cooperate in good faith. Be that as it may, another flaw with the Claimers was that they were opposed to joining established communities. They truly preferred life on the road. Yet we know from human history that nomadic lifestyles are vastly inferior to the state of affairs known as civilization. Disagree? Well, name a single nomadic tribe today that can defeat Uganda's military. Yeah, that's right. The answer is none. And the Ugandan military is pretty pitiful by modern standards. Nomadic lifestyles are cool, but they're just not optimal. Hell, they're not even competitive in the meta. With all things being considered, Joe and his claimers were right about some things, but their execution was so piss poor that they were ultimately wrong where it mattered in both terms of survival and ethics. Anyways, if you enjoy this sort of content, please like, share, and most of all, fucking subscribe. Also, don't forget to smash that notification icon, that way you can be notified when I publish a new video. And remember that you may always opine anytime if you feel so inclined down in the comment section. I'm Captain Gold and hope to see you in my next Gold Standard video.